Hey guys, this is Ryan Sickler. I am very excited to announce that I'll be part of the Netflix is a Joke Festival. I have my own show Sunday, May 12th at the Bourbon Room. Tickets are available right now at ryansickler.com. Go get them. Sunday, May 12th, Netflix is a Joke. All tickets at ryansickler.com. Let's sell this bad boy out. Miami, Florida. I'm bringing the Live and Alive tour your way. I'll be at the Miami Improv Friday, June 7th and Saturday, June 8th. Get your tickets now at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, and Ryan Sickler on all your social media. I'm starting this episode like I start them all by saying thank you. Thank you for supporting whatever I do. I genuinely appreciate your support of this show. I love seeing the way you guys interact with the guest over here, airing out stuff that you don't hear in a lot of other places. And I appreciate you, man. And if you got to have more, then you got to check out the Patreon. The HoneyDew with y'all is this show with y'all, and it is the wildest stuff you'll ever hear for $5 on the internet. I promise you that. All right. It's $5. I've kept it $5. It's staying $5. You get the HoneyDew a day early. You get it ad free. You get it at no additional cost. All right. And your support of the way back means everything, man. It's a new podcast that we started. And, you know, you never know how things are going to go. And you're loving it. Thank God. So go over to Apple, give it a 5-star iTunes review. Get that thing up on the charts for us. Help us out. These are all free ways to help the show. All right. Come see me on tour. If I am in your town when you are around, tickets are available at ryansickler.com. All right. That's the biz. You guys know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I am very excited to have this guest back on the HoneyDew, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Nadav Itzkowitz. Welcome back to the HoneyDew, Nadav.
It's the HoneyDew, y'all.
HoneyDew is here. Everybody's like, you missed the... Kirsten, have we ever used HoneyDew for Ari? Yeah, because people are like, oh, you missed an opportunity. And I'm like, I think we did. And if we didn't, this episode is definitely HoneyDew.
Fair enough. I'll take it. Dude.
It's good to see you, bud.
It's good to see you too, man. It's great to be here.
Before we get into whatever we're going to talk about today, please promote anything you would like.
Sure. Follow me on Instagram at Very Nadav Show. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Very Nadav Show, where my podcast is up every Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And also support me at the Lodge Poker Room. If you see me there, sit down at my table and feed me money.
Is that in Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Are
good
you
poker
up?
Room. Nah.
In your career?
No. Actually, no.
In your career,
at the
not
Lodge,
at that place.
At that place, I am up.
Okay, but in your
my career, I am not.
Yeah, I don't know many people. I mean, Vegas isn't built on winners. You know what I mean? Every time I go to Vegas, I'm like, there's a new casino they're building.
Here, it's crazy. It's like my feed has just started getting infiltrated with just Vegas influencers, and I love it. But I'm seeing so many people, like, because every now and then, if you gamble, you're like, yo, is this a problem? Like, is this an issue?
I mean, we got a list of stuff to talk about, and it's not on here, and I want to talk about it.
Well, yeah, because I've ruled it out because I've seen all these other influencers. I'm like, I don't do it like that. I'm good, dude. Like, I'm not.
You can walk away?
Yeah, I never gamble with anything that I'm not okay with losing because I see it all as an investment of fun. Like, yeah, I'm withdrawing $500 from the ATM, but I'm planning to have $500 worth of fun that night.
Last night, I did a spot at the Ice House, and I haven't seen... I get off stage and this dude's like, good stuff. And I look down and it's a dude named, I'm going to give him a shout out. What's up, George? I didn't get to say goodbye to you, bro. I had to get out of there. George Melanche.
What's up, George?
What's up, George? George was a graphic designer, badass. And back in the day, when I was writing and producing it was called Fine Living. They were part of like Food Network and Scripts, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm one of the writer producers.
Yeah. Scripts.
And we're all hanging out. And he's cool as shit. And, he started to get to know somebody a little bit. And then he starts telling us that he and his dad are into the ponies. And we're like, oh, okay. And then one day he comes in. Now, I may have the numbers wrong, but I'm pretty damn sure they went out to Santa Anita and they picked the winner for 10 consecutive races.
What the f?
And they hit it.
You have this guy's number?
I just saw him last night and I couldn't even say goodbye. I got a message.
George, comment on this video, man. Say that you're that George. I need to talk to you.
So I want to say around 7. They hit 7 in a row.
Okay.
He said they came to them and said, listen, we'll pay you out at this amount now. You don't have to risk. And they said, nah.
Wait, it was a parlay?
I believe so. It was a 10 winners only parlay. And at like 6 or 7, they came down and said, we'll go ahead and pay you out now.
You know you get paid as on just one winner, right?
Right.
You get paid the out. What's up, George? Sign in my DMs, dude. I need that intel.
They get to like 8, they come down again. We'll buy you at this. Nope. They get to 9, we'll buy you at this. Nope. And they hit. They fucking hit it. I don't remember the number. It was definitely 6 figures. They escorted them out of there with security. And then he came to work and took the whole department to this badass steakhouse for lunch downtown. What's up, George? He hooked us up.
George.
It's the only time it's like this old vintage steakhouse. He took the whole department out for lunch.
Dude.
And but then, this is the part I'm getting to.
Yeah.
We're all working. I'm just hearing people way down the hallway. Go, 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 go. Like, he's got them all credit card betting online. All of them are credit card betting online.
Dude, there is fun shit you can do with horses. You know, for the longest time, I had a crypto racehorse.
Nuh-uh. That was a thing?
Dude.
What do you mean?
What does that
There's
a crypto horse track.
No.
Where you can literally you could buy a crypto racehorse that literally is one of one. And my buddy for my birthday bought me a horse named Kent Blazemore. And he was breeded from like 2 like top of the line like bloodlines. Like, oh, this crypto racehorse won so many races and this one did too. And I was so stoked. I think I did one.
I can't wrap my head around this. If it's a digital thing like this, that seems to be so much more easily manipulated than an actual horse race.
It's different, Ryan.
Here's
it's different.
Talk to
because
me.
It's not your racehorse versus other like these are like NPC racehorses. All these racehorses belong to people. So you're not betting on just like a race. Like you're betting on your horse. Like you're submitting your horse. So it's just, you can't with that. But unfortunately, I lost him in the move from LA to.
How do you lose it?
It's a 12-word passcode written on a piece of paper.
Oh, no.
So your crypto wallet.
He's just out there.
He's alive.
He's just grazing.
I don't own him. And also, he's just in the ether. Kent Blazemore is in the ether.
Kent Blazemore's out there just eating grass and wondering where the everybody is.
I miss you, Kent.
I don't even understand. I have a problem with gamblers because it affected me personally. I had a degenerate cousin that lived with us for a hot sec, and we all worked different times. I worked graveyard at UPS. Shout out to UPS Baltimore Hub Primary 1 Joe Avenue. And he would get home earlier. So I also went to college, so he was getting mail. Okay. And at that time, when you're in college, that's when you start getting flooded with the credit card. Right. You know what I mean? They're coming to the house. Ryan Sickler, sign up. And I'm like, nope. Well, my brother lives there with us too. And my brother's the first victim. He gets the call from the credit card company like, hey, you owe us $3,000. He's like, I don't even have a credit card.
Holy
like,
shit,
sure
that could have been so much higher.
And then,
with a gambling problem?
It could have been, but that was where.
North of 10K.
Yes. It was a Discover. It was a Discover card.
Taken to the limit.
But he was like, and it fucked his credit up for so long. Then I'm working one night, and I get a call while I'm on the floor. This dumb motherfucker filled out all the information, but put my work number on there. So they call me at work, and it's like Citibank. And I was like, I know exactly what this is. I don't have a credit card with you. Never filled. I know who did it. I can give you this, and boom. So I do. And that night, I go right to the police station, and I put a warrant out for his arrest because he's now stolen my
this guy
and my brother's. And then all of it comes out in the wash. My grandmother, who had just died months before, stole her social, had credit cards in her name. And my grandfather, I don't know how he did this. I think my grandmother I remember her saying out of just
up your entire family's credit?
My grandfather died in 1973, and I think my grandmother just kept a line of credit under his name, so she had two. And then he ran credit on that dude. This dude's had good credit.
Who's running fraud on fraud?
2 dead, 2 alive that we know of. So I delayed my whole move here. I was like, this guy, I'm gonna take.
You broke this guy's legs, right?
But I didn't need to.
I think you're legally allowed to.
He was such a piece of shit that, when you put a warrant out for somebody, usually for something like this, they have to get pulled. They're not going to go get them. You got to get pulled over or whatever. And within like 3 days, he fucked up, and boom, they got him on that. And then he kept delaying the court dates and never showed. So I had like a public defender who finally said, listen, I'll be there. Just go. And I was like, no, I want to be there. He's like, you should just go ahead and move and get on with your life. This is real. But all in, I don't know how much, over 20,000 probably on all the cards. Slap on the wrist. Nothing.
Is it washed?
Washed. No, but my brother's credit up, mine up for a long time. But I fought it. My brother didn't fight it. I fought it.
Isn't it fraud protection though? We're just like, hey.
I didn't have to pay anything or anything like that. But it just ruined my credit. Yeah, I couldn't get more credit after that because they're like, wait, this whole thing went down.
Oh, they're like, well, you hang out with people that could do this to you, which is a liability.
Yeah. So watch your mail, y'all. Watch your mail.
Dude, did you do any, we could talk off mic, but you did something to this guy up, right?
We'll talk off mic. we definitely crossed paths in Baltimore City.
This is like,
I'll tell you this one story is great. So we end up getting kicked out. My uncle realizes he's got this gambling problem and says, fuck it, gives the house to him.
Okay.
Kicks us out. We're homeless. That is rightfully half of our house. Okay. But whatever. My grandmother's sister takes me in, and this dude lives in the house for a year. My grandmother had this house since World War II, 40s, whatever.
Okay.
Fucking doesn't make one payment, not one in a year, and the bank took it. Just like that. Like, it wasn't, this big whatever. It was like, you guys get out. I'm going to help my kid out. And then the kid didn't help himself out. And then we all ran into each other in a bar in the city. And man, you want to talk about a white trash family. We're yelling at our uncle. And he's like, he'd tell my brother, I'll spit on your grave, Derek. And they're like, who is that? We're like, that's our uncle and our aunt and our cousin, right? They're like, what? And we're good. And I'm calling my other cousins like, these motherfuckers are here. They're racing across the city to get there. Like drive
$500 in property tax.
Like,
what are we doing?
Like, keep them there. Keep them there, he's saying. I was like, I'm trying. They're running. They're trying to get out of here. And then everything settles down. The bartender's like, who's that? We're just our family. Like, that's your family? Like, it used to be. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, so fuck any. Gambling is one of the ones that just gets me. Because it got me. And I didn't even do anything. I didn't even have any of the fun.
Yeah.
Dude, we used to have bookies call the house. They would call. I'm not kidding you. It would be like this. Tell them the Duke called. The Duke, bro.
Duke.
On my life, my brothers would back me up on this. The Duke. That was the night. And then one time, they sent dudes to the house. They came to the fucking house.
Sent dudes to the house?
2 dudes came to the fucking house.
And were they just like kind of had hands in pockets?
2 dudes came to the house, and he had his wife go down and answer the door with the baby in her arms because he thought that would soften the blow. And I was like,
he knew who it was?
Yeah.
And he's just like, send the kid out.
Dude, he would VHS record like these late night coke. There used to be this guy in Maryland called the Stallion. He was in Ocean City. He's like,
dude, I'm sweating like I just lost 10.
The Stallion. That's how you'd be like, he would be coked out of his mind. He would give you games, horses, whatever. And my cousin, like, this all came out later in the wash. I'm like, you're programming the VCR to record fucking these, like, I don't know. Do you remember this shit? It would be like late night. I don't even know where you'd find it, but it'd be on late night, like 2 a.m. It would just be like these degenerate guys trying to give you lines on sports and shit.
I don't think I ever saw that.
He knew all of it.
It was like public access shit?
But he was terrible at it. It looked like public access, yeah.
I mean, what's funny is that, like, I've always wanted to like get into sports because like all my friends like love sports, and I always just get quiet during that because I'm like, I don't really like basketball or football or baseball, and I wish I did. And recently, though, I figured out the way to get me excited about sports is to gamble on it. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm losing. Like I'm spending.
I mean, you got the Shohei Ohtani shit going on right now, which is insane.
I'm investing like $20 at a time to have fun. I'm investing 20 units of fun into all these games, and like I'm missing all these parlays. But like this is the most fun Super Bowl I've ever had, and fucking Pacheco could have. I think I needed 5 more rushing yards from him, and I could have gotten like $3,000 off the Super Bowl. And instead, I lost 400. But you know what? That's just how she goes, dude. It's how she goes.
Yeah, you're.
Oh yeah, fucking Ohtani. His interpreter was putting bets on games that he was involved in.
Listen, I don't make Shohei Ohtani money that most people don't make anywhere near it.
Is he Japanese?
I promise you, yeah, if you fucking move my money like that, I would know about it. It's a couple million. Also, look, I'm not even going to say arguably, he's the greatest baseball player ever on this rock in outer space.
Okay.
Dominant pitcher, dominant batter. He's injured with his throwing arm right now, so he can't pitch for another year, but he can still fucking hit.
Okay.
And I just hope like hell that he I mean, I'm selfish. I want him to clear him. This is we might be, if he bet on baseball, we're about to be robbed of the greatest player to ever play the game. We're not even, Japan's going to be like, whatever, come on back. But we're not going to be able to see the greatest player play because of gambling on, or MLB is going to be like, you know what? You can gamble on baseball now, everybody. Like that. It's a sticky situation.
I want to hear that interpreter as a podcast guest. You know, I want to hear that, dude. And then
let's get you on the HoneyDew, bro.
Yeah, that dude's got a honeydew or
story.
two for sure, dude.
Man.
Fuck. Yeah, dude, that type of shit makes me fucking sweaty. Where it's like, yeah, this is a wild story. And like you just place yourself in did you see Uncut Gems?
Oh yeah.
Like watching that is like a nonstop exhilarating anxiety ride. Mm-hmm. And it's man, it's like you have to go
it's like a
take
Breaking
a lap.
Bad episode.
Yeah,
you're just
except
sweating.
for that it's way more relatable because you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna make fucking 50 tons of crystal meth, but like I could see myself, you know, sneaking over a bag across and getting my face like caved in from some New York grifters. Like Jesus Christ, who like goes to the same shul as me and my kids. Like, of course, that's who you're borrowing money from,
dude. I was a victim of when I first moved out here in North Hollywood. I lived in this shady ass neighborhood. I lived out. It was the corner of Fulton and Sherman Way, and this was in the 90s.
Fulton and Sherman Way, I know.
In the 90s,
Van
bro.
Nuys.
It was North Hollywood technically, but yes, it was right there.
Like the Mexico part of North Hollywood. Yeah.
Like I would jog and they would be like, you know, you're the only white guy in the neighborhood, right? They would tell me and laugh at me. I'm like, you guys tell me that.
I spent a couple summers working in that neighborhood.
First night I'm there, there's a chalk body on the street and the police come to the building like, hey, you got gang activity over. I'm like, oh God. But this landlord was a real piece of shit. And he knew someone at the bank. Mm-hmm. And again, this is how I found out in the end, but he was washing our checks. He would wash them. He would, you know, you could put it in a solution and clear the check. Then he would write it to himself. Okay. So what he would do is like, let's say I'm pretending I'm Nadav. Uh-huh. I wash your check, your rent check, P.S. This is my rent check I'm turning in. I'm paying my rent. He's washing our checks. And then he would write a check to himself, okay? And then he would bring a check in, and I would say, I'm you, but I know you. You're the teller. So you don't ID me, you don't whatever. And I say, hey, I wrote this check for $2,000. Give me 1,000 of it in cash and just put the other 1,000 in. And what you're really doing is putting 0 in, and they're giving you $1,000. And he was doing that for a while until like the landlord, the company hit me up like, why aren't you paying your rent? I'm like, I've paid my rent every month since I've been here. And then that all came out literally in the fucking wash. Yeah, it's been taken. So you know what I did?
Man, you've been fucked over left and right.
Yeah,
with this
gambling motherfuckers.
Shit,
it's all gamblers. It's
God
all the
damn.
degenerate money guys that are trying to hustle the twos and fews and they never get ahead. But they're always still broke. They're always always broke.
But
still.
here's what's cool about them. They could always get enough for the next bet.
Yes, but they can't stop. They can't stop.
You
Who was
only
it
need
that
one
came
to
on?
hit, Ryan. You only need one to hit.
There was somebody that came on that was a gambler back on the Crab Feast days, and he said, here's the thing. He was telling us, like, you're never going to hit it big when you gamble because you'll keep it. He goes, the guys that hit it big are me, because I'm going to go give it right back. You know what I mean? Like, luck works that way. Like, the guy that's going to keep putting it in. You're not going to hit 100 grand and walk away. So one time I did this. I had a friend of mine's like, you want to go to Vegas? And I was like, no. You know what I want to do? And it's the dumbest fucking thing, but it made me laugh so hard, and I just invested in this. All right. So a friend of mine hits me up and tells me about you can invest in currency. I didn't know you could buy currency. I had no idea you could buy another country's currency. And then if that currency goes up or down, futures and shit. You cash out in that at that number, good or bad, right? So he's got this whole thing he tells me about. The Vietnam dollar is called the dong. Okay.
He's investing in dong.
Bro.
Good.
So I'm like, all right. He's like, Ryan, it's worth nothing. Like, it's worth nothing. And if it just moves a whisper, you're going to be like 6 figures and nothing. So I was like, you know what? If I buy a ticket to Vegas right now, it's going to cost me what? LA, a few $100. Mm-hmm. Hotel, food, gambling. I'm just going to take $2,500. I'm going to buy a few $1 million of dong. So I bought a bunch of Vietnamese dong instead of going to fucking Vegas. And I'm just sitting on some dong.
Sitting on some dong, yeah.
Bro. Stacks of dong. And if that dong even moves a whisper, I'm cashing in like a motherfucker. I gave it to my business manager. I'm like, y'all hold this. This is my dong. I want you to hold my dong. Got Vietnamese.
Hold my dong.
Now, here's the thing. Do I know it's bullshit? 100%. But also, I would have just gave that money to fucking Vegas. But what I can do still is, even if that money never fucking grows or loses, I can take it back to a bank and go, you know what? Let me just cash that out and still get my money back. It's just dong on loan unless something happens. So instead of blowing $2,500 on a weekend in Vegas, I blew it on some dong, but I'm sitting on that dong, hoping that dong grows while I sit on it. You know what I'm saying? I want that dong to get bigger and bigger.
Let's just grow a couple more inches, dongy. It's the honey dong. Ooh, that's a good one. That's good shit.
The Honeydew is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. And when we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever is weighing you down. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more. Therapy isn't just for those who experience major trauma. It can help you learn positive coping skills or how to set healthy boundaries. It can even help you understand yourself better. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Take a moment. Visit betterhelp.com/honeydew today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/honeydew. One more time, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/honeydew. The perfect jean isn't just another pair of stiff, uncomfortable, nut-crushing pants. They've cracked the code to solving all your denim difficulties. The perfect jean makes great-looking, perfect-fitting jeans that are as comfortable as sweatpants. Trust me when I say these are truly fucking perfect jeans. For a limited time, my listeners get 15% off their first order, plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc or Google The Perfect Jean and use code HoneyDew15 for 15% off. Look, they sent me these jeans. I tried them on and I've been wearing them because I'll be honest, they're basically a jean that's night pants in the daytime. They're that comfortable. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. My listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code HoneyDew15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code HoneyDew15. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show and tell them I sent you. Fuck you, khakis, and get the perfect jean. Now, let's get back to the do.
Dude, that reminds me. I heard this story. My brother told me this story about my dad before he passed. So like I was getting into like investing in stock and stuff, that's what Jays do. And I was like, I was asking my brother about like something like, hey, so like I know about buying straight up stocks and stuff, but like what the fuck are these options and future? Like what the fuck is that? He goes, oh, don't fuck with that. I'm like, what? Why? He's like, let me tell you a little story about dad. I'm like, okay. And he goes, he invested, he thought that, do you know what agricultural futures are?
Mm-mm.
So it's pretty much like whatever, let's say the price of pork, right? Let's say the price of pork right now is, you think, pretty low. You could buy futures of pork.
No.
And then when pork goes up, you can now sell your futures. And you have now made money on agricultural futures.
Okay, so you're buying agricultural
Right,
stock.
pretty
but you're
much.
investing that it goes up.
Right. Now, here's the key part of investing in agricultural stock. You are not like stock of a company, like you're buying a piece of paper that's a portion of it. You are actually buying this agriculture. So say, for example, like they say a good time to invest in pork is when the McRib is announced, because that's when pork prices are at their lowest. So I can't remember if my dad purchased pork or salt, but he had bought a shit ton of agricultural futures of, let's just call it pork. And so you're just like, oh yeah, fucking, it was like a 3-month contract or whatever. And at the end of this, like I didn't make any money on it. So I guess I'll just take the hit on it. And then he gets a call from a company saying like, hey, is this address good for all the pork? And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, you bought like 3 metric tons of pork.
No.
He goes, wait, no, I didn't. He goes, yeah. Is this the agricultural future that you bought? He's like, yeah. He goes, well, we're coming with a truckload of pork and we're dumping it onto your lawn if you don't have a place to receive. He goes, wait. And so then he just had to fucking offload, like he just found some person to fucking offload this pork to or salt or whatever the fuck. But like agricultural futures, that is what happens.
It's
like,
showing up.
You're straight up buying that stuff. And like there's no like representation like a stock of a company or whatever. It's you are buying this stuff.
And see, I got my dong in a Ziploc bag.
In a little hermetically sealed jar, I have all my dong collection.
I bought dong instead of going to Vegas. I really did.
Fuck all this fucking Bitcoin, dude. I got a fucking trunk full
One
of
of
dong.
the craziest gambling stories was a comedian named Brant Tobler. He came on the Crab Feast back in the day, and he was a bookie. He was a crooked bookie.
Yeah.
Right. He's admittedly so. And it was the game. It was the Mile High Miracle, we call it in Baltimore. It was Joe Flacco and the Denver Broncos. Joe Flacco. It's the year we won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And he took a bet from a guy that the Broncos were going to win. And so he took, I don't know the number, but it was big. He was a bookie in Vegas. He was working as a bookie, and he took like $50,000 from this guy.
Okay.
But didn't place the bet. He was sure that the Ravens were going to win. So he just kept this dude's 50.
Okay.
And then it comes down to this, like, we're definitely done. There's 18 seconds left in the fucking game. That's it. And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking get killed. This guy, I don't have the money to pay this guy. And Joe Flacco throws a fucking Hail Mary and it lands in Jacoby Jones' arms and he runs it in and we tie it. We win in double overtime.
Holy shit.
He was like, that guy was going to kill me. That guy was going to fucking kill me.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears out of gambling and get to some of your stories that you actually
Sure.
brought here because I want to hear. So you grew up here, right?
Yeah, born and raised in LA.
So tell me about, you worked at Vaughn's.
Oh yeah, dude. That was
So Vaughn's is a
demoralizing.
grocery store here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me because when I first heard Ralph's, I was a big fan of, still am, Robin Harris, the comedian who passed away, Baby's Kids. And he had a whole album back in the day and he was doing a bit about going and getting some super duper maxi pads for his girlfriend at Ralph's. And I always just thought,
It's just a guy.
what a weird, you know what I mean? What
Yeah.
a weird name for a grocery store is Ralph's,
Yeah.
you know? And now I'm so used to it, but it's like, fuck is Ralph's? Like we had Safeway,
Right.
we had Wise, we had,
That's what it is. Like
Kroger.
whenever
things
you
like
go
that.
to a different city, you're just like, oh, this is the ecosystem of supermarkets here.
Right.
All right. Like
And they're all still somehow weirdly affiliated. Like, yeah,
Right.
we're Kroger, but we're Ralph's.
right.
Like,
On the East Coast, it's Aldi's, but on the West Coast, it's Trader Joe's or
Right.
like some bullshit like that.
so you're working at Vaughn's?
Yeah.
How old are you?
So this was, I think, my first summer back from my freshman year of college. So I had a internship set up at like NBC. And it was going to be like my first internship like in the industry. And I was like so fucking excited. And I go to orientation and we get through like an hour, 2 hours of orientation. Everyone there is from an Ivy League like school. Like I'm seeing dudes that play on the Princeton basketball team. And it's just like, God damn, this is fucking cool. Like there's some fucking like big people like in this room. All interns. and I like at the end of orientation, we all go take the tram ride, like, and we go through the back lot and we like just all sorts of cool shit. This is the first time I'm getting like any taste of Hollywood. And at the end of the orientation, like the two program directors come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Nadav, by the way, we like didn't ever like get this document from you. Like, is that, did you send that?" I was like, I was completely unaware of anything that you guys needed from me. Like, I thought you guys had everything. They're like, "We don't." It's like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll get you that paper." He goes, "Oh, no, it's too late for that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Maybe next year." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And like my entire summer of like, just like, oh, this is gonna be my first summer in the industry, just got taken away from me. I got super fucking deflated, and I go home and I tell my mom, she's like, "How was orientation?" Oh, and they give me like this white folder that says NBC Universal on it, like a really white glossy folder with all like the shit. And she's like, "How'd it go?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's I don't think I'm getting accepted into the program. Apparently they needed some paper that I didn't submit." And she's like, "Well, Vaughn's is hiring." I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Like for a second, I was just like, "Oh, I guess I'll just have a summer doing nothing." And my mom's like, "The fuck you are." Yeah. So my brother had worked at that Vaughn's like the summer before or something like that. Like our family had been running through this supermarket. And I remember like I went in for the job interview and like I aced it because it's a bag boy, or they called it a courtesy clerk for Vaughn's. And I remember, what was her name? Fucking Monica? Yeah, Monica was interviewing me. And she's like, "Well, needless to say, you're overqualified for this job. All we have to do now is just take a swab from your cheek and that you passed the drug test and you're good to go." And I'm just like,
why would you have to pass a drug test to be a bag boy?
It's a bag boy.
To help old ladies out to their
And so
car.
she's just like, she starts opening up the bag. And I'm like, "Oh, we're doing this right now?" And like, I had just smoked weed like on the way to the
right before I came in.
Like, and so she's like, "Yeah, is that a problem?" And like, I think of something like just on the spur of them. I'm just like, "I went to the dentist today." And she's like, "Uh-huh." I'm like, "They put fluoride or whatever in my mouth. God forbid, like something happens, you guys would think I'm on drugs. I don't want you guys to think that." She goes, "Nothing that you take at the dentist would mess this up." I'm like, "Better safe than sorry. Can I take this with me?"
And she let you?
She was like, "You can't take it, but like you could just come back. I don't know, when do you want to come back?" I'm like, "It's called a week. Can we like, I'm really busy for the next week." She's like, "Sure." Came back, did the swab, everything was fine. I passed it. And
I can't believe they drug tested you.
It's fucking wild, dude. And like the people that worked there were the biggest fucking degenerates.
I was going to say, do you just have to take one to get in and then you're good?
Yeah, they don't retest you ever. Yeah. Like I remember, so the way that they break you in is, so once I passed the drug test, they're like, "Good news, buddy, you're on the team." And they give me the exact same white folder that NBC Universal gave me, but with the Vaughn's logo on it. I'm like already trying to hold back tears. I'm like, "My, how the mighty have fallen." Like we just flew a little too close to the sun. And the way that they break you in is your first week, you're showing up at 4 a.m. to sweep the floors, like restock anything that needs to happen, and like, you know, putting plastic bags on all the cash registers. And like, I'm there on my first day, and Monica's like, "All right, well, here's what you need to do. Here's a bucket and a mop, and you know, just start cleaning up all the aisles." And like, I'm cleaning up the aisles, and like all of a sudden, and I don't know why this triggered me, but you remember that song, "Hey There, Delilah"?
Yeah, "Hey There, Delilah."
Yeah, it's like, "How's it there in New York City?" Yeah. And I'm just like, the walls are caving in. Like, I'm just like, everything just fucking broke for me.
I should be seeing Jaws right now.
Dude, I literally go to the bathroom and fucking cry my eyes out. Fucking
day one.
Devastated. This is day one of being broken in. And I have 5 more days of 4 a.m. shifts that are going to start like this. And I'm just fucking devastated. I'm just like, and we're just like, yo, what's up, dude? You get high? And because I'm like, no, I just cried a lot in the bathroom. I'm just crying. Like, and so then I just start meeting all these other degenerates that are on like the job. There's this one dude, I think his name was like John or something. But like, I look at it like, and he's like clearly a degenerate. And I'm like, hey man, how long have you been working here for? And he's like 3 years. I'm trying to get fired. And I'm like, trying? You're failing at it? You're failing at getting fired? He's like, well, yeah. Like, I'm like, dude, why don't you just like go smoke weed and don't put drops in, and they'll fucking figure it out. He goes, I did that. And I'm like, what'd they do? He goes, they docked my pay.
That's all they did.
And I'm like, okay. It's like, well, like, aren't there more things you could do? He goes, well, yeah. Then I was just like, oh, well, the problem is that I'm smoking outside of the store. So I just started smoking inside the bathroom. That's inside the supermarket. And I'm like, they didn't catch you then? He's like, well, no, I have too many friends here and they smelt it before management did. So they just started spraying Axe body spray all over the door, giving me Visine and stuff. And then, you know, that didn't, like, they just docked my pay again. I'm like, what? It's like, then I did shrooms. I'm like, yeah. He goes, docked my pay again. I'm like, dude, are you paying to work here? Like, how? Just fucking leave, dude. But I remember I would pull all sorts of shit because I was just like, you know what? This is a good motivation. I'm never going to work at Vons again. Knock on wood. There's still a chance. I still got like another 25 more years till I retire.
Yeah, I might be 70 bagging new groceries.
But I remember I was just like, you know what? This is, and I remember I'd made a pact there because I was like, I started smoking weed on my lunch breaks. I was like, look, this is not a good like pattern to start. So I made myself a rule. I'm like, I'm only going to smoke at jobs that I don't respect. And Vaughn Supermarket is at the top of that list.
I'm better than this job.
And I was just like, I'm going to cut every corner. Cause like, that's not who I am. I'm a very hard worker. Like when I care about the shit, but I don't care about fucking Vons' bottom line. I would pull so much shit because I knew what I was legally allowed to do and what I wasn't. And if they caught me on shit, I'm like, they're gonna dock my pay. Worst case scenario. I'm here for a short time. I'm here for the summer. Like I don't care what they do. So I remember it was summer and everyone gets cart duty. And like when you get cart duty, you're just getting carts from the parking lot. It's summer. You're doing at least 1 hour window at a time. And I was like, you can't take a break from that because you have to like go back to the punch card system every 15 minutes to be like, you're still out there doing stuff.
Oh, because if you're out of the building, they didn't want to make sure you're on the clock.
I think it was just knowing like a record of just like, yeah, you came back in every 15 minutes to do shit. And so what I would do is whenever I did cart duty, I would then just go disappear into the walk-in freezer until they called my name on the intercom.
Okay.
Because what I found, like, first of all, it felt great in there, but also I found this grease barrel in there, and they also had a whole bunch of like, you know, those Dibs ice cream, like bonbon stuff.
Yep.
So I was in college and I was like, now's a good time to kind of practice my beer pong skills. So I would stand on one end of the walk-in freezer. I'd take the lid off. I'd take the lid off of the grease barrel. And I had no idea what the intention of this grease barrel was. I don't know if it was going back into the fryers or if it was like going to get shipped off to like a landfill or something. But I just took a lid off and I'm just beer ponging Dibs into this grease barrel, and it made like a really cool clunk sound.
Yeah.
And then I would hear my name being called on the intercom, like, Nadav, you're needed at the courtesy clerk desk in the front. And I'd go, and there was this fucking manager named Deborah, such a fucking bitch. Cared way too much about her job. It's just like, it's a Vons supermarket. Like, what? Like, I'm fresh out of high school, first year of college. Like, what are we doing here? And she'd be like, hey, I noticed, like, where have you been? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you've been gone for like an hour. I'm like, no, I was on cart duty. He was like, no. I know when your cart duty ended. You've been gone for an hour since then. I'm like, oh, yeah. She's like, what do you mean, oh, yeah? I'm like, no, I was in the bathroom. She's like, for an hour? And then I was just like, oh, are you about to tell me I can't use the bathroom? She's like, well, use it less. I'm like, I don't think you're allowed to say that. She's like, all right.
You can't tell me how long.
Yeah, I was like, you can't tell me to shit less or piss less. Pay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take it out of my paycheck. And like, whenever my family would come, like I speak Hebrew. So whenever my family would come, they would come to like the checking aisle that I was bagging at. And then in Hebrew, I would say to them, say yes to whatever I'm about to ask you. And they're like, okay. And then as a bag boy, you have to say, excuse me, miss, do you need help out to your car? And then they'd be like, yes. And then I'll just go chill in the parking lot with my sister and my mom for like an hour in air conditioning, like just fucked off. And then I'd come back and they're like, where were you? I was like, oh, I was helping that lady.
That lady.
It's like, wasn't that your sister or your mom? Like, yeah, they needed help. It was like, all right. And like, they just kept on trying to be like, you can't do that. I'm like, show me where it says I can't do that. And yeah, I remember fucking hating that job and just, it was so demoralizing. I cried so much at the first week of that job. And I was like, never fucking again. It's been the biggest fucking like fire under my ass. Like, I don't know, dude. You want to fucking work at Vaughn's again? They're hiring.
You need that. You need that barometer. That
my mom's voice always rings in my ears. I'm just like, Vaughn's is hiring.
Yeah.
Fucking devastating.
Yeah, you needed to fucking get missed.
But I think it was the best thing that probably ever happened to me because I think like up until then, things were going fine. Like I never really, like there were no stakes for any decisions that I had to make. But that was the first thing where just like, hey, you fucked this up and now you're going to pay for it all summer. And that fucking sucked hard. Yeah, I was working at Vaughn's, getting the rug pulled out from under me.
The warm months are here, the sun is setting later, and we all want to make the most of the long days. Whether it's a beach trip, family vacation, or just hanging out in the backyard, summer requires extraordinary hydration that's built for everyday dehydrating moments. Liquid IV helps you with benefits like electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients all in a single stick. It couldn't be easier to do. You just grab 16 ounces of water, you rip the tab off, pour it in, shake and enjoy it. It tastes great. They offer a variety of flavors, including sugar-free options in white peach, green grape, raspberry melon, and lemon lime. With 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, it's clear why Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Look, I've been rocking with Liquid IV for a long time now. We love them here, and so does everyone that comes in, all the guests, everyone. Everyone's drinking Liquid IV over here. So turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code HoneyDew at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code HoneyDew at liquidiv.com. Did you ever play the over-under game with your friends? You know, something like, I think I can eat that slice of pizza in under 30 seconds, or I know it'll take over a minute to down that 2-liter. If you have, then you're going to love Pick 6, the new fantasy game from DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA. One of the cool things about Pick 6 is that you don't have to know a thing about basketball. You can still play and have fun. Here's how to play during the NBA playoffs. Pick between 2 and 6 players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, rebounds, points, assists, and more. You track your picks and you pay against others for a shot to win huge cash prizes. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code HoneyDew for a shot at huge cash prizes. That's code HoneyDew only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states. Age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Pick 6 not available in all states, including but not limited to Connecticut and New York. For up-to-date list of states, visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Now, let's get back to the do. Tell me about
Oh, that kind of leads into this this key story.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was, oh no, wait, actually that was way before. Oh, okay. So when I was in 10th grade, I got caught keying a car. So out of character for me. And
did you know the person? Was this a random thing?
Yeah. So here's the whole story. So like this was 10th grade. I had not even started smoking weed yet. Like I was still in the drugs are bad camp. And I was hanging out. God, I don't want to use his real name. But we'll call him John Pooch. We'll call him John Pooch.
John Pooch.
And so everyone in my school had a story of, hey, I used to be best friends with John Pooch. And then we did this thing together, and then our parents don't let us hang out together anymore. So this is my story of not being allowed to hang out with John Pooch anymore. So hanging out with John, and like, he's just a terrible influence. Like, I'm in 10th grade. Literally, I come out and hang out with him. I'm like, hey, John, like, what are we doing? He's like, well, my dad should be passing out. He passes out right when the Daily Show comes on at 7. And so when he passes out, he doesn't wake up again until like 1 a.m. And then when he moves to the door, or when he moves to his bed, I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, so we're going to take his car. And I'm like, what? So he's just like, yeah, you know, at like 7, my dad passes out, and then we just kind of take his car and do
Pooch
shit.
for you is George Wilk, and that's his real name for us.
So I would hang out with John Pooch. I'd say like, I don't know, a couple times a month. I'd just go over, like, I'd be like, hey, Mom, drop me off at John's. Like, we're going to have a sleepover. And like that sleepover was just like, oh yeah, he's going to like have me smoke weed for the first time. We're going to drink and shit, like all sorts of just wild shit. Like we'd have friends over and just have like, we'd play the pass out game, like all sorts of just shit that are just terrible for kids. And so I remember like, God, fucking John put me through so much fucking weird situations. Like we went out and he's like, hey, I want to buy weed.
Real quick,
come with me.
Did you steal the car?
Yeah.
You guys joyrode in 10th
I didn't.
grade? Yeah.
John did.
He did.
John was going to do that whether I was there or not.
Okay.
Like, he did this every night. He did this every night.
Damn.
And never got caught. And I remember he said, hey, I want to buy weed. We're going to meet up with this guy. And I'm like, I've never really like gotten into it. Like I wasn't into it yet. Mm-hmm. And so we meet up with this dude. And like, it was like, oh my God, that's a 12th grader. You know, like we're buying weed from a 12th grader. Like we were in 9th or 10th grade at the time. And he's just like, hey, I don't have a bag. So put your hand out. And I'm just like, oh, John, what do you want? He's like, put your hand out, Nadav. I'm like, and he just puts like fucking weed in my hand. He goes, all right, have a good night, guys. I'm like, wait, what? Like we're driving around with just weed open like this in my hand. And so another night, we're hanging out with like 3 or 4 kids from our school. And like, it was kind of like in the Jewish school system. It's like, oh yeah, you go to Jew elementary school over here. You go to Jew high school in here. And then the Jew middle school is like these 3 options and these 2 options. So like, essentially you knew every Jewish kid in the Los Angeles area just because there's so much overlap and crossovers. So there's a couple kids from my elementary school and like they're all into like smoking weed. And like I was just like, yeah, guys, let's go get drugs. And they're like, oh, fucking Barry has weed. Let's go get weed from Barry. And I'm like, okay. So we steal John's car, John's dad's car again. We go over to his house and like they haven't even texted or called him or anything. I don't even remember if cell phones were around back then. Might have been like the iPhone 1 probably just came out. So, oh yeah, so it was flip phones and shit. So they're flip phone texting Barry, being like, hey man, can we buy some weed? Like, you said that you had some. He goes, oh, I just sold the last of it to, I don't know, fucking Seth or whatever. And so John starts getting real mad. He's like, that fucking bitch selling our fucking weed to fucking someone else. I'm like, did you call dibs on it? Like, what? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't care. I don't smoke weed. So he goes, fuck this. And oh yeah. And leading up to this, I'd lost my house keys like a week before that. My brother just got me new keys. And to fuck with me, he got me a pink like a pink, like a key in the shape of a pink guitar with a cross in the middle. And then for the other door, it was a blue guitar with a Jewish star in the middle. And so it was very distinct keys, very distinct keys.
Very.
And so we get there in 2 cars. The one car like decides to go. They're like, all right, well, whatever. There's no weed here. Like, we'll just go. And then John's like, yeah, we'll catch up with you guys in a bit. I'm like, what are we doing, John? He goes, I'll show you. And so we pull up. He's like, that right there, that's Seth's car. That's the guy that he sold weed to. I'm like, okay. He goes, we're going to fuck up his car. I'm like, what? Why? He goes, because fuck him. I'm like, all right. Well, you do whatever you want, man. I'm good. And so he's like, my keys are in the ignition right now. Give me your keys. So like, okay, give him the keys. He just starts fucking keying the car. And then he looks at me and goes, you want to get in on this? And I'm like, what? No. And I look at it and I just see pink scratch marks all over. I'm like, oh, that's from my fucking brand new keys. all right, well, no one's going to fucking figure that out, right? He goes, do you want in on this or not? I'm like, nah, peer pressure. All right, fine. Take it. I just like do something real quick. We get home. The other car is just like so spooked that like, you guys vandalized? Like, I'm like, I don't, this is all John. I mean, John did it. And so then the next, like everyone, like we do the sleepover, get picked up from, by my mom, get home. And then John calls me. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, John? He goes, you got to tell your mom. I'm like, what? He goes, you got to tell your mom what happened. I'm like, what do you mean? What happened? He goes, well, we keyed the car. I go, we, huh? He goes, yeah, we both keyed it. I'm like, sure. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was both of our ideas equally, I guess. But sure. Like, what happened? He goes, well, the guy in the other car fucking told his mom what we did. And then his mom called John's mom. And then John's mom is like, hey, you got to fucking, like, you're paying for this. Like, it was like a fucking Beamer or something that we keyed up. So it was expensive paint or whatever. And so I'm just starting to fucking freak out because he's like, look, it's a $2,000 paint job back then.
Yeah.
So he's like, your half is $1,000. I'm like, I don't have $1,000. What the fuck are you talking about? And so
is this your gambling origin story?
I'm like, I'm never going to be in this problem again. I'm never going to not have $1,000. So I remember going, I'm like, oh shit. Like it was like probably my first like go and like face the music moment where I'm like, all right, Nadav, you fucked up. You're a big boy. This is what big boys do. Go be a big boy. And like I go and my mom, we had a family friend from Israel staying with us at the time. So my mom is in the backyard. Like I'm in the room that's like right next to the backyard. And I like get that call. I'm like, all right, well, let's go tell Tammy what happened. And so I go out. I'm like, hey, mom. And she's out in the backyard with the family friend that's visiting. I'm like, hey, I got to tell you something. And she's like, well, whatever you have to tell, I'm sure you could say it in front of Yossi. I'm like, you sure? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I keyed a car last night. I need $1,000 to fix it. And she's like, her jaw starts just like, oh, let's go inside. Let's go inside. She's like, what the fuck happened? I was like, yeah, I keyed a car and I need $1,000 for the paint job because that's how much my half is. She goes, well, there goes your summer. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you worked over summer. Like I had worked construction over summer at her at her job. She goes, there goes your summer. You worked, you got $1,000. There goes $1,000. And in my mind, I'm like, totally forgot I had $1,000. I could have just fucking not.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I could have just shut up. And instead, I was just like, I think I grounded myself for like 6 months. I'm like, I'm a terrible piece of shit. Like, fucking flog me. Like that. Like, I was so bad at punishments. And I was the only kid in my family. I was the youngest of 4 kids. Only one that ever got grounded. I'm the only one that ever got caught being in trouble.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, you'd think the young one would get away with whatever.
No, dude, I remember my mom would constantly tell me, she's like, I had 4 kids. I thought I had it figured out. And then you come along and you fucking do all this new shit I've never seen before. But yeah, I keyed a car and paid $1,000 and I didn't even have to tell my mom about it, but I did.
Let's clear the air here. Is this YMH story, post YMH, is this have you talked about this?
Which one?
Your last one there.
Yeah.
Is this publicly known? Like, does everybody know why you didn't do the marathon and all that? Have you ever
well,
cleared it up?
I didn't do the marathon just because it was unhealthy for me to do that. Like, doing a marathon, like, I think they're doing, by the time this comes out, they would have already done the 5K. But you know how long from when they announced it to when they're doing it? More time than I had to train for a full fucking marathon. But yeah, what had happened was, so I decided to leave YMH just because, I'd been there for 7 years and, I'd built that machine and I just want to build machines, for myself and like make a machine out of helping other people with their shit.
Well, you didn't build a machine. You guys built a fucking goddamn rocket that went into another stratosphere. Yeah, and what amazing.
And thank you. And what I felt was that, like, over there, I was more just maintaining it and not doing the building that I enjoyed in the beginning. So I was like, I want to get back in that building phase. I haven't used that part of my brain in forever and I miss using it. So I had left, I just decided to leave. And then like I was still doing all of my routines. I was working out regularly. I was going on, like I was walking / jogging a 5K.
But you were also training for it initially, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
What had happened originally, I mean, we had gone through a couple weight loss competitions. The first one was just, it was funny. It was set up and then just kind of like forgot about. And like I'm training like a couple times a week with trainers over at On It. And like I remember like there was an episode of Two Bears where Tom was like, oh yeah, so Nadav, you're like, how's the working out going? And Bert's like, you're working out? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean am I working out? I'm working out because of the thing that we said like on this show. And then like that really fucking like I was like, wait, do they even fucking remember that this has happened? And like while I was lifting weights for that, my belly button had gone from an innie to an outie. And like I thought that was just like, is this a fat thing or a muscle thing? Like what is pushing my belly button?
Was it painful?
No, it was never painful.
It just popped out.
It just all of a sudden turned into a soft outie. And so
I got to be honest. I got an innie too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind an outie for a second just so I could Q-tip and get in there good. Did you clean it good?
Oh, dude. Audi doesn't do that. Audi creates more crevices.
Oh no!
Because like it's still
Okay.
like sewn where it's supposed to be.
Pop,
no, it just creates deeper crevices that you can't like. Your Audi is out, but like you're still
makes sense
getting in between there. But I remember I went to the doctor immediately. I'm like, yo, what does it mean when your innie turns into an Audi? She's like, are you working out a lot? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what's happening. Like everyone's abdominal wall, more or less, like has defections near the belly button because that's where the umbilical cord was, and it's the most common type of hernia, and it's the least like one of the least threatening ones. She's like, does it hurt right now? I'm like, no. Has it ever hurt? No. All right, well, this isn't an immediate emergency. If and when it starts hurting, that's when you need to take care of it. It's like, okay. Literally like didn't think about it for a year. I was just like, man, it's like anytime I caught myself in the mirror, like, oh yeah, I have an Audi. And then when I started like the training for the marathon, and like I had left, but I'd still wanted to do the marathon. So I'm still doing everything. I'm lifting weights and all that. And one day, my girlfriend's coming over, and like she starts cooking, and like right when she comes over, like I'm like, man, I got a fucking tummy ache. She's like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna go lie down for a bit. Lie down for like 2 hours. It's just getting worse. It's hurting more and more. And like, this is on a Thursday night. And like, this is also, I think you'll understand this. This is like the first month that I'm releasing episodes of my new show, which comes out on Fridays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Very Nadav Show YouTube channel. And this is like the fifth or sixth, like something like that. It's like very early into me releasing these episodes. And like, the stomach ache is not going away. She's like, and when I work, like this is going to be surprising to hear, I forget to eat sometimes because you're just so locked in that like, 5 o'clock comes around and you're like, oh shit, I don't even think I really ate today. I had some coffee in the morning, but like nothing else really. So I was like, maybe this is just like a hunger pain or something. So we eat dinner. Pain does not get better. It starts getting a little worse. I'm like, this is I kind of don't like this at all. And like at this point, all I have left on my episode to release the next day is I have to make a thumbnail and I have to write a description. And I think I have to just upload and route it to different places. And so I'm like, you know what? Like my stomach's been hurting so much for the last 3 hours. Let me just feel around and see if I could touch something. And then like my finger goes over my Audi belly button and it's rock hard. I'm like, oh, that's it. That's I found the culprit. And I'm like, oh, I think this might be a hernia. And like, I tell my girlfriend, I'm like, yeah, I think this is a hernia. And then she looks at me and she's like, oh, she'd been telling me that we need to go to the ER for like the last hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And then I realize that, oh, I think this is a hernia. And like, this is like the pain that my doctor was talking about that constitutes an emergency. And so my girl's like, all right, well, you ready to go to the ER? And I'm like, if we go to the ER, I'm not sure when we're coming back. I have an episode dropping at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Friday. And I was like, look, babe, I totally agree. I need to go to the ER. but give me like 45 minutes. And she's just like,
You worked through that?
dude, she got so fucking mad. She's like, you're a dumb piece of shit. I'm like, I know I am. But we don't miss uploads. We don't miss uploads. Not this early in the run. You just don't do it. And I went and I worked it. It fucking sucked. It sucked so bad. It's just like
trying to make
a pain,
a thumbnail.
just deep in your stomach, like deep in your stomach. It fucking hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And like then I just start and like 30 minutes, like while I'm doing all this stuff, she's looking up like ERs and urgent cares and stuff. And she found one that was like really well reviewed. She's like, oh, I found one like while you were working. I'm like, oh, that's great that you had time to find one. If you didn't have time to, like, I just start like manipulating all things like, oh, good thing you had all this time to research a good spot, right? And so we get to the ER, and this is now kind of like, I'm playfully joking around in it, but that's also what I do when I'm scared is like, I just try and make everything funny because if I'm scared, that's a shitty feeling. But if I'm not scared, then I'm laughing. And if I'm laughing, it's hard to cry and freak out. You know, as long as Hey There Delilah doesn't play on in the background, like that's really like one of my triggers. And so we get to the urgent care, and I'm just fucking I'm starting to get delirious because as we're driving over there, it's getting exponentially more painful like on the ride over there. And so she's getting parking, I'm walking in, and like it's, I don't know, like 9 or 10 at night. And we're the only ones in there, and like the nurse at the front is just like, hey, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I have a tummy ache. And she's like, what? I'm like, my belly button, it used to be an innie, it's an outie now, and it's hard. And she's like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, then my girlfriend comes in, she's like, let me write out this fucking like paperwork for you. And we get in there, and while they're like getting all this information, like asking why all this happened, I think it would be cute to make them, because like the entire time my girlfriend is just like, I cannot believe that you're waiting all this time. Like you need to go to the ER. I'm like, 30 minutes isn't going to do anything. Like it's fine. Like I'm sure it's fine. Yeah. And so while we're there, they're done taking all the info from me. I'm done taking all the info from them. And they're like, do you have any questions about this? I'm like, yeah. Let's say I came in 45 minutes before I did. Would I be in a better situation? They're like, no. I'm like, you hear that? She did not like that.
I told you I was right.
There's always time to write a description, babe. And they were very upset. She was very upset, but she was like, just so you know, this is going to be the last time that we'll wait going to the emergency room. I was like, that's fair.
And now your health is good?
Yeah, now I'm back. Like, so what had happened was that they didn't know if they were going to have to do surgery that night. So they're like pushing around. They're like, look, if we can't get, because like what happens with an umbilical hernia, your intestines are literally coming out of your belly button.
But can they manipulate it back in without surgery sometimes?
So that's
there's a hole and then they do the mesh thing, right?
So that's what they were hoping to do. They were like, look, we're just going to investigate. Like, we're not going to do anything. I'm like, yo, are you about to push my shit back in? And they're like, nah, we wouldn't do that without telling you. I'm like, okay. And so then they're just like starting to go. They're getting closer and closer. I'm like, it feels like they're trying to push my shit back in. And they're like, look, we're not trying to push it in. We're just investigating. I'm like, okay. So they're investigating, and all of a sudden they investigated my shit back into my belly button, and it just all of a sudden I felt a pop. I'm like, yo, what just happened? I had no idea what had happened. I was like, yo, was that a good pop or a bad pop? They're like, oh, you felt that? I'm like, yeah, I felt that. And they're like, does it hurt? I'm like, actually, no, it doesn't. They're like, yeah, we just pushed your shit back in. I'm like, cool.
But now do you have to have the surgery to have the like?
So I scheduled the surgery for like that happened on a Thursday. I had surgery on that Tuesday.
Okay.
And then, got
plenty of time to prep that next episode.
Dude, I got ahead. Yeah. I got 2 weeks ahead before that.
I'm glad you came on here. Thank you for being here and doing
thanks for having me. It's always such a pleasure.
Same, bro. One more time, promote whatever you'd like.
Yeah, you could catch my episodes of Catching You Up with Nadav at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Very Nadav YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram, like all my things, support all my stuff. Yeah, that's all.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. Come see me on tour. Tickets are available at ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.